operation paid for by the following. Ohio Neck and Back Pain Relief Center, Scott M. Gray, D.C., across from the Marion Center between TSC and Kroger. For further information, dial 740-386-6580. Also located on the net at goodbackbadback.com. That's goodbackbadback.com.
Hey, Scott Spears along with you on a Monday, joined by Marianne Michaels, Shannon O'Neill, Martha Dowse, Charlie Evers, and our good pal Lou Conkle, Louis B. Conkle, longtime attorney here in the Marion area. So glad he was able to make the trip. Put the camera on, Lou.
Pardon me?
I said put the camera on you there, Lou. We wanted to see that you're here. We didn't want to hide you. We have a lot going on this week on the exchange. Lou's going to sit in. We've got... well, actually, I want to tell you this. Last week we had a malfunction for the first 3 episodes. So once again, we lost the Monkey Mobile footage and we lost the Madge footage for the second time. So second time Madge got cut off. Madge is sitting somewhere right now saying, what in the world is he doing? This never happened to her, right, Charlie?
No.
No, you were her engineer. You had it taken care of.
That's right.
So once and for all today, we are going to play the Madge Cooper acceptance speech at the Hall of Fame, which was cut off 2 weeks ago and last week did not get to air at all. But before we do that, we're going to go to you, Charlie.
Oh, God, that's nice.
We're going to start with you. You get the start.
Yeah.
With fascinating facts. Are we still there, or are we, if we hadn't...
Well, I could still think of things we need money for, but I thought today I'd just remind people, maybe they've already been on vacation, but to get best gas mileage, you got to have your tires pumped up. You know, a lot of people drive until their car just collapses. and, you know, because you turn the key and the engine comes on, so why not go? But people start needed checking their tires. You know, the average tire runs around 35 pounds pressure, and that's indicated on the driver's side door panel. When you open the door, you look on there, and it will tell you the correct tire pressure. And you'd be surprised at the mileage difference when you have your tires up to speed, up to pressure. And then check your oil. I know people have driven till their red light comes on and the engine starts to freeze up. Oh, that's right, I was going to check my oil. But these are simple things that can be done to make driving much more pleasant. And at the cost of cars today, you know, you might want to keep your old one, keep in good shape.
You know, it's a little known fact, Charlie, but did you know that when you look at the dashboard of your car and you see that little gas pump that's there?
Yes. What is that?
Oh, here's what that is. Do you know how it's always got the handle, the gas pump handle, the nozzle?
Right.
Whichever side that nozzle is on your dashboard is the side your gas tank is on your car.
No wonder.
Yes.
Oh, I've been filling my radiator.
Have you been?
Yes.
With gasoline?
Yeah, the thing is in the middle of the speedometer.
Thank goodness you've never been hit from the front.
That's right.
You'd have been taken out a long time ago.
No wonder it sputters.
You brought in some good memorabilia. We're going to get to that later on, either in today's episode or tomorrow's. But before we do that, we're going to head over to Marianne Michaels with Words of Wisdom this week. Marianne, knock 'em dead.
Well, Scott, these are poetic words from Sarah Teasdale. Oh, better than the minting of a gold-crowned king is the safe-kept secret and memory of a lovely face. Sarah Teasdale.
Sarah Teasdale, I like that. Very nice, Marianne. And we should mention every time we go to a shot of Marianne, we have Buckeye Cluck in the shot, our mascot here on the exchange. Always a lot of fun there. And we're going to start our quiz questions again this week, and maybe you'll have a chance to win something. You never can tell. It's going to be, just highly interesting this week. But before we do that, for the third time, we've seen it 3 times. This will be the third time we've seen it. But you have not seen it at all out there in TV land. It is the acceptance speech, Ohio Broadcasters Hall of Fame, 2007. Madge Cooper got cut off a couple times. Madge, take it away.
This is Madge Cooper with another capsule comment on caution. These clothes caress the body as lightly as a baby's kiss. Where the lines are slim or rounded, there's no look of stress or strain. But it's also something you want to keep in the back of your mind when you go shopping this fall. Look first to the waistline. Almost never raised, seldom at the natural equation, all thanks to Sutton and Light.
1490 WMRN.
It was back in 1957 that a young freshman in high school wandered from his father's merchant's booth over into a tent where a radio station was broadcasting live shows from the fairgrounds. Station personnel were broadcasting local musical acts and grocery giveaway shows and trade and swap programs. Man, I thought that was cool. I said to myself, hey, I can do that. Well, it wasn't long after the local high school had a radio show, and we aired it on WMRN in Marion, Ohio, the same station that was broadcasting those live shows from the county fair. It was there that I met Madge Cooper, who gave me advice after I traveled down the road from Upper Sandusky, Ohio, with scripts in hand to record the shows. It was the beginning for me of almost 40 years in broadcasting. My start came with the woman we honor tonight, a woman who laid the groundwork and the value of local radio, painting pictures with words. She produced, covered, and broadcast local and national news events and shared information to the home folk in Marion. I, for one, Dave Kaler, say thank you, Madge Cooper, for setting the standards for hundreds of us who got our start when radio was more than just music. It was truly serving the public interest. Moreover, you were the torchbearer for the public interest of Marion, Ohio, and WMRN. Congratulations, Madge Cooper, on your long overdue induction into the Radio Television Broadcasters Hall of Fame of Ohio.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's new inductee for 2007, Madge Cooper.
Hall of Fame.
Now, is the mic all right? Yeah, I think it is. You know, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out whether I should admit to anybody here that I was 97 years old. That wasn't lately, was it? But I am, and I did not really intend to get here. And I'll tell you a secret. It's really not as bad as you think. For one thing, you get some perks. Some of them they give you, and some of them you just take. For example, you say, I don't have to, I'm 90. And some of them may complain, but unless it's a traffic ticket, most of them don't. I want to say just a little, and I only have 2 minutes because I've already used 1.5, I know. Radio, when I went in, and this was 11 months before Pearl Harbor, we could not play anything except what was in the public domain because we did not have an ASCAP license. Remember? There was a time when the radio broadcasters, there wasn't any television then, don't worry about that. The radio broadcasters and the ASCAP people, they were mostly musicians and a few authors, I guess. They had no license. In other words, we didn't have a license to play. We played everything in that public domain. And you know, we were a little surprised, but people got a little tired of having old on top of Old Smoky. And this is my sunshine every hour of the day. It lasted. It was your ancestors did that. We got out of it, though. There were a lot of things happening in those days. We were a 250 daytimer. And, of course, we didn't have this license, but we did a lot of things with people just around the community. And they liked it, and we liked it. And it made money for our man, our boss, and so that worked okay. Just a word about our boss. We had two of them. The Mason brothers, there was Frank Mason, who was a vice president of NBC. And then he had a smaller little brother who was a print man. He was from Steel Magazine in Cleveland. And the two of them went together and had a radio station. Our first program director, Stanley Miller, was a Harvard-trained man. He was a page at NBC, and he scared us to death. I was hired as a writer. I was to write the farm hour. Did you ever try to write a farm hour? That didn't last too long because about then Frank Mason said, we need a woman's program. Audition match. I'll be back in 3 weeks. So at about that time, Stanley auditioned me. Frank came back. We call him Uncle Frank, but don't ever tell him we did that. And he said, what about the audition for Madge? And Stanley said, well, here it is. He listened to it. He said, it's all right, put her on the air. What's her name? Madge Cooper. That's all right, she can keep her own name. So we went on from there. There were lots of things happened in those days. There were good things happened in those days, too. Rod Serling did work at our station for about 9 months. He was one of the nicest people I have ever known in my whole life. He was nothing like Twilight Zone. I can't even imagine that coming out of his head. But it did. He lived with a widow lady down the street who boarded all of our announcers. And they told me afterward that every night you were here, Rod at the typewriter, punching away. About 11 o'clock at night, he ran out with his envelope, which was a script that he'd written, and that went up to the post office. And in a few days, it came back, but then he tried another one, and he did eventually make it. But he could write so much better than Twilight Zone. It's just too bad nobody got to know. I'm done with my time. 3 minutes? That's all I said I'd do. 3 minutes. Okay.
Hey, only one Madge Cooper. So glad we finally got that in. And as I've said every time, but never said on air yet, 12 inductees that night into the Broadcasters Hall of Fame. Only standing ovation was Madge Cooper, and it's easy to see why. And it's kind of neat that we've waited so long to do this because our guest today, Lou Conville, was in business with Howard Guthrie, who was Madge's husband. Correct, Lou?
That's right.
Now, Lou, what are your memories of Madge and what she did in the Marion community?
Oh, I think she was so nice, everyone liked her, and I think she was interested in everything that was going on, you know, if there was something good for the community, she was for it. And she's quite a lady, really.
Any shock to you that she went into the Broadcasters Hall of Fame?
No, not really. But I heard her years ago when she had her over the coffee cups and all that business. That's been a long time ago, but I was out to a party out at WMRM, I think maybe the second year after it opened. That's when I first met Madge.
What was Howard Guthrie like? The man you worked with.
How long do you have?
Give me a good Howard Guthrie story, Lou.
Oh, Howard was a unique fellow, no question about that. He was very educated in many, many different phases of life. I've always said that he could go into a courtroom and he would know what was going on. He could go out to the Marion string shovel or power shovel and he'd know what the machines were doing. He could go out on a farm and watch the tillable things and so on. So he was a well-rounded, well, of course, he had a lot of time because he wasn't too much of a worker.
Well, now it all comes out in later years.
Lou, what about his car? Didn't he have a 49 Lincoln?
Pardon me?
Didn't he have a 1949 Lincoln?
Seemed like he had a couple of different ones. I don't know.
Really neat-looking cars.
Yeah.
Well, Lou, I don't know if you'll mind me mentioning this, but I want to later on this month. Now look at this, gentlemen. Lou turns 91 years old, Lou?
Yeah.
91. How in the world does it feel to be 91?
Well, you get your first hearing aid and then you go.
No, Lou, what's the secret? How do you get to be 91?
Pardon me?
Did you eat right? Did you eat right? Take care of yourself?
No, I guess the Lord was either good to me or not, but he decided to keep me around.
What's life like at 91 years old?
Well, I'm getting along fine. I'm enjoying it. I read a lot, and I have different hobbies at home, and watch the stock market go down. So I have plenty to do.
Lou, I've always wanted to ask you this, and this is as good as time as any. Great attorney in town for so many years. What was the case you remember the most?
Well, I never had hardly any criminal cases, but when I was young, the court would appoint attorneys for supposedly indigent people. And there was a robbery out here, someplace on 95 at a store, and they arrested, I think, 6 different fellows. They claimed they were all in the car. Well, one of them was handed over to me, and he said, well, I can't help it. I had nothing to do with it. I didn't know any of the plans. I was at home asleep, and they woke me up and put me in the car, and I didn't know a thing about any robbery before or after anything. And I believed him. He sounded like he was telling the truth. So when I got up and we got through with it, why, I just said to the jury that, I thought he was innocent and they should think so too, and they agreed. So that was my most famous case.
Well, that sounds like a memorable one, Lou.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta tell you, I wish you the best 91st year, and I'm sure you'll be around a while. You've got a lot of stamina, and Lou will be with us here for a couple episodes this week. Charlie, speaking of reminiscing, you brought in a bag of memorabilia from the life of Charlie Evers.
It's interesting. As we go through life and get involved with special events, it seems like somebody says, hey, let's have a T-shirt made.
Let's have a T-shirt made,
And so
yes.
I've been in so many things. I could wear a different T-shirt every day.
Charlie emptied the closet to
I've
come
got
in today.
a whole bag full of T-shirts here that
what's that?
kind of smell a little well, not moldy, but mothball-y.
Here we go.
Oh, yes, here's one that, look at this.
What does this get a close-up of this? Charlie Evers is my husband.
That was,
Did your wife wear that?
yes, that was from
Good.
1977 when it was Charlie Evers Day at the Marion County Fair.
Ooh.
And then, this is when I was at WDIF. And we had a group called the Body Watchers. You see? That was a long time ago.
What was that? Is WDIF for Evers?
Let's see, what was it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's WDIF
It was
for
shortly
Evers.
after I went there, yes.
Oh, there you go.
And those guys like bodies. Oh, and here's a good one. There's no other like this in the world. I was the official, what was it, the water battle MC for the Waldo Fire Department during the Waldo Firemen's Festival. I did this for years. And to pay me, they gave me bratwurst galore.
Oh, boy.
And a couple of things to quench my thirst.
That's some kind of paycheck, Charlie. My goodness.
And, let's see what else.
Oh, there's a pile down here. Here we go.
Here we are.
We've got all kinds of shirts today.
And here's one that, wait.
Champion
Human.
Champion Human.
Wow. Now that's something. That's going some. And
who was runner-up? Who is Charlie Evers? That's what people keep asking me when I run down the list of people on this show.
And I don't know what this says.
That's your name.
Oh, yes, my name, yes. That was a WDIF shirt.
Classy.
Oh, yes. And then, here's a good one. A couple I like. See if you can see the.
Well, pull that in.
Kind of hard to read. It's We Conquered the Kukwa Ditch. Look at that. Yeah, this is the T-shirt that was made for my trip down the Kukwa Ditch in my canoe.
That's a
From Marion to Waldo. It's never been done before and never since.
Really?
No one has ever canoed the Kukwa but me. And maybe a couple of Indians. And then, here's one. I'm a WMRN peanut pusher.
Oh, that's classy.
I tell you. And I've got others too.
Here's a good one.
I still have a drawer full of them. Okay, this is my last Bike Across Ohio shirt that was made. This is for 1996. That commemorated 13 years of pedaling across Ohio. This particular year, we started in Portsmouth or Port Clinton and ended in Portsmouth, and we raised money for the American Cancer Society, doing that every year for 13 years.
That's a neat shirt. I like that.
Here's one other.
Chuck.
Waldo or bust. Oh, that was another canoe trip that I did. This was on Grave Creek, and so it goes.
Well, listen, Charlie, we're gonna. Do you have any more shirts in that bag? Hold on to them. Now, hold on. We're gonna come to them later and make people wait for the really good stuff.
Ooh.
I know. We're coming back to you later on in the week with more shirts by Charlie Evers. What's in Charlie's closet? We're going to start a new segment, though, kicking off today. It's called The Quizzer. We're going to ask a trivia question every day, and the people here on the panel are going to give a guess. Sneaky Eyes Mary Ann over here is going to give a guess as to what the answer might be. Now, here's what you need to do. You will win a prize. I'm not going to reveal the prize yet. I'm going to reveal it on Facebook, because this is how we're going to do this. When I give you the question, you go to Facebook and put the answer. Who's ever the first person there with the right answer on Facebook will win a prize for that day. And who knows what the prize could be? It could be food, it could be a gift, it could be all kinds of great things. And then tomorrow on this show, we're going, same bat time, same bat channel, we're going to reveal the answer. So you could trust these guys' answer, you could trust my answer, you could trust yourself, you could look up on the internet, who knows what you could do, but that's how we're going to play the game. Today's Quizzer question, the inaugural Quizzer question: how many crates did it take to transport the Statue of Liberty from France to New York in 1885. And don't you Google this at home. I want to know what you really think. We don't want to play Who's the Fastest Googler. Charlie, who is it?
Didn't we answer that one other time?
Do you remember the answer?
No.
Okay. How many do you think? How many crates?
1,200 crates.
1,200 crates. Marianne?
Wow, it depends on how big those crates are, you know. I don't know. I think Charlie's answer pretty good, but I think I'm going to say 200.
Lou?
2,000.
2,000. Martha, how many crates did it take to transport the Statue of Liberty?
113.
Shannon?
I'm going to go with 150.
150. You know what? If you think any of these guys are right, if you think you're right, jump on Facebook, The Exchange Marion, put your answer up there, and hey, that's the way it'll be. See ya on Tuesday.